It is my honor to be here with you today. It really is. Because those who are seeking the light, those are the people that we wish to see at Temple Alhambra. Those are the people that we wish to see. I am here. I'm here for myriad reasons. The first reason is to address the Moors of the new Mecca. That would be Chicago. You Moors of Chicago, many of you are trying to be righteous, white, upright, industrious. And yet there are others of you who have degenerated so far into your lower selves till you have to look up to see bottom. Still, others of you are doing all that you can to defame the prophet and tear asunder the foundation which he has laid for the uplifting of fallen humanity. You all don't care about the prophet, but I digress. Still, more of you have allowed your egos to take precedence over the righteous meaning of American Islamism, as well as the purpose of this organization. Since the prophet changed forms, everything has been done to destroy this movement. From the misguided Masonic influence on the temple to the attempted purchase of this movement by others. And I'll explain that on another day when someone asks me. To the lending of our 5 principles to my former street gang, replete with the wearing of fezzes. Much has been done to discredit this movement and this organization as well. When asked certain questions, I'm compelled by law to answer them. And there are other questions I could care less about because they are not intelligent questions. Okay. You see, brothers and sisters, after the scramble for power and control of this organization resulted in fracture and factions, with each faction going its own way, the disunity as well as disharmony became so widespread that those others who wished that the prophet had never lived at all, well, they became all smiles when this fractured, factioned, and divided organization began to implode, thus setting the movement back many years and doing nothing in the way of its work to uplift fallen humanity. The prophet stated once that the only thing that would surprise me, he said, would be if a Moor would do right. Well, Moors, I don't know if you were taught anything about the people you descended from, but the people we come from, they were masters in the art of living and the science of life. I will confer these few degrees upon you about our people. Now, of course, you know that we came from the Moabites. Our father is Moab, son of Lot. And before I go on, I will tell you this now. Backwards through the ages, masterminds can trace themselves, and thus we know. I can trace myself all the way back to Lot. I can trace myself all the way back to Aunt Ruth and Uncle Boaz. I challenge any so-called Grand Sheik to do the same. If you are a Grand Sheik, you can do that because you have the science and the wisdom. Instead of just holding yourself out as a Grand Sheik, you shyster. But our people, I digress yet again. Our people were masters in the art of living and the science of life. Now, again, you know we came from the Moabites. But were you taught that we are also keepers of the temple? Did your Grand Sheik teach you that? And I'm speaking of the Temple of Solomon. Did your Grand Shyster teach you that? If he didn't, you are sitting at the wrong feet. And I don't mind calling them out. I will argue with none of them. I have yet to meet another master Moorish scientist, aside from my brother Uriel, who has changed form, but he left a legacy of knowledge behind him. And I would advise you to get those records that he left. And again, we are keepers of the Temple of Solomon. Now, King Solomon knew that one day this temple would fall. He knew it. He knew it. And what Solomon did, he placed the Ark of the Covenant with his son, Menelik. Your Grand Sheik never told you about him either, huh? Okay. Our ancient customs refer to us as Shriners. That is why we wear the fez, aside from it being our holy headdress. It is our headdress that expresses our dedication to the craft, that craft being Moorish science. And if your Grand Shyster cannot, or will not demonstrate Moorish science to you, it is further evidence that he is a fraud. Because a Grand Sheik worth anything can demonstrate science, where people can actually see it. And remember, Moors, there is no such thing as magic. It does not exist. There is only science. Let me give you the definition of magic. Magic is only the absence of an explanation in science for an event or an occurrence that seemingly has no ready explanation. That's what magic is. There is no such thing. There is only science. Islam. Now, as I was saying, Uncle Saul, he gave the Ark of the Covenant to our cousin Menelik. And again, we were referred to as Shriners. Now, why we are Shriners? Well, we represent the original Freemason. Understand something. This has nothing to do with those Prince Hall Masons, those African American Masonic orders. And if they knew what their European counterparts called them behind their backs, they still would have no objection. I'm going to share with you here. Let me give you these degrees. While these Negro Masons are doing their Negro Masonic thing, I wonder how many of them actually know the origins of the Prince Hall Masonic Lodges. I'll share that with you one day. But I'll tell you this. When they get to that 33rd degree, the only thing they're going to find is them. Because they don't even know what the Masonic order is all about. The Europeans refer to them as my shadow. They don't care as long as they can say I'm a Mason. They don't care. And these will be the first Negroes who want to holler racism. Ha! But you belong to an organization that views you as less than human. You don't even have substance. You're referred to as my shadow. Well, you keep on being proud, Masonic man. You keep right on being proud. Well, we can't talk about the Masons without talking about those Eastern Stars, can we? If you will look at the Masonic star, the Eastern Star, what you will find is it is the reverse of our star that sits in the middle of our flag. What that star represents for the Eastern Star, she is a woman standing on her head with her legs up in the air, splayed wide. And I'll give you 3 guesses for what? You want to be a Mason, huh? You want to be an Eastern Star? Okay. But again, I digress. So after Uncle Solomon knew that the temple was going to be destroyed, he gave the Ark of the Covenant to cousin Menelik, and as I just told you, we represent the original Freemason. Now, the free in Freemason means that we are free and do not represent any cult, dogma, or institution. We represent the truth, and the truth is free. The knowledge that we carry to this day is represented as the lamp of illumination. It was called in medieval times as the lamp of illumination of the Saracen. Well, I am going to digress just a little bit. For you Christians, for you Moriscos, and a Morisco is a Christianized Moor. For you Moriscos, you are told to read and obey the Bible. I got a question for you. Have you ever seen yourself referred to in the Bible as Moor? No, you haven't. But you are in the Bible. You certainly are. Only you are referred to in 2 ways in the Bible. You are referred to as a Saracen, and you are referred to as a Phoenician. And not one of you Moriscos, not one of you Christian Moors ever asked Reverend Give-A-Damn or Reverend Fatback who these people are. You never asked. And then Reverend Fatback or Reverend Give-A-Damn is probably going to tell you, And this is standard for Christian creepers. This is what you're going to get. Well, there are just some things man's not meant to know. That's a lie. There is nothing man should not know about the plane where he dwells. That is a lie. He just doesn't have the answer, and he is not going to tell you he doesn't know. That's all there is to that. That's all there is to that. Because he doesn't know. Because Christianity does not teach you anything about yourself. It does not teach you how to be in your higher self. The only thing Christianity teaches you is to obey commands. And that's one of the biggest differences between American Islamism and Christianity. But I'm going to continue. This may take more than a couple of parts because there is much that I want to impart to you today. Now, I want you to understand, Saracen is another name for more. That's another name for us. The Pharisees decided to change our names. You see, our name has always been changed by a people who are not us. Who are not us. Now, were you taught that the name for more and, the lamp of illumination is what we are to represent? Did you know that? The lamp of illumination is what we are to represent. Were you taught that our importance, along with our heritage, have been mimicked and taken by the governors of this conquered land of Al-Morocco? Did you know that? If your Grand Sheikh didn't teach you this, he is not worthy of you as a student, because he does not know anything, and Grand Sheiks are to teach. It is Act 6. But you see, these pretenders and grand shysters, hustlers and pimps of the prophet, they don't care about any of that. Again, if you wish to join Temple Alhambra, the number is 712-432-3900. The access number is 237-829#. That will get you in. Here you will learn your ancestral science. What you won't get here is remedy to get that Roman boot heel off your throat. No, here you are taught, and you are taught all of the ways of your ancestor. There are no cliff notes. There are no shortcuts. You must make the time to take the time to be the best you that you can be, and to remain in your higher self for as much as you can. But let me continue with the Moriscos and those others who happen to stumble onto this page. Well, so we've been conquered here in Al-Morocco by the enemies of man. And today, you will find the Albion Shriners imitating our ways and wearing our fez. They are an abomination to our ancient ways. We are the true Freemasons and do not subscribe to limited thinking. This you will see if you notice the fez that the 32nd degree Masons wear. What you will notice is the tassel on their fez is knotted so that it can only move within the confines of 32 degrees of a circle. The tassel on our fez moves a full 360 degrees because we are free from limitations. To us, the word Mason is not just a word. We are builders, builders of the sacred. We are builders from a race of builders. These things your grand sheiks ought to be teaching you. Otherwise, what is his purpose? To just collect your money and pick your pockets? Why are you sitting at his feet if he has nothing to teach you? I'll tell you why you're still there. You're still there because you're loyal to a man. That's why. You're not actually seeking the light. You only want familiar surroundings where you learn nothing and you don't really care if you learn anything, but you show up twice a week. That is where you belong. Because the prophet called for all strong men and women. And he also told you that this is not for everybody. And clearly it is not. It is not for everybody. But being builders from a race of builders, that would make us the people, wouldn't it? And I will share this with you. Now, understand, it is against my religion to cast aspersions or make assertions against any organized group. I can't do that. That would be against the law, as the prophet stated it. However, I am bound by those same laws to tell the truth. It is the second highest principle. And this is a truth I will share with you. The greatest enemy that we have ever known is now called the Vatican. The Vatican wanted to, before it became the Vatican, it was the Church of Rome. A little side piece here, a little sidebar. It didn't become the Vatican until 1929, after the prophet had already organized and established this government. What the Pope did in 1929 was he took a page out of the prophet's book, and that is how the Vatican became a city-state. He did the same thing the prophet did to establish this government, which this corporation masquerading as a government is holding on to with a white-knuckle grip. And you see, we at Temple Alhambra, we hate no one. We hate no one. And speaking of our people, while I'm on this subject, there are some things you Moors need to know, because I know you don't. These folk you call white people, You don't know that they didn't become white until 1868, because before then, they were known by their nationalities. You say, make you know it? I don't have to go far. Just look at any old Western from the 40s, the 30s or something. And you will see one of those Caucasians, but you're not going to hear him called a white man. No, 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 no. You're going to hear things like the Swede, the Dutchman, the Irishman, the Englishman. That's what you're going to hear. The German. That's what you're going to hear. You're not going to hear white man. Because then they were known by their nationalities. And so should you be.